Now, what a debut for Nyck De Vries in F1. He managed to score his first career points in his first career race in the worst performing team on the grid. This wasn't enough, he was able to humiliate Latifi and outperform him on Saturday, finishing P12 and entering Q2, and also on Sunday when he finished P9 after starting P8 due to grid penalties being applied to 4 of the drivers finishing ahead of him. Not only that, De Vries was able to spend more time in the top 10 drivers than Latifi, who is in his 3rd year with the team. The question has been asked right after the race: is De Vries signing with Williams for the remainder of the season? Stick around with us to find out more. De Vries started the FP1 session with Aston Martin, and when it became evident that Albon won't start the race due to a surgical procedure, more precisely appendicitis, De Vries received his chance to continue the weekend event. He started in FP3 with Williams, and in both qualifying and race day, he didn't disappoint us a single bit. Not only did he win his first career point, but we've seen him attacking and almost passing the Alpha Tauri of Gasly, only to go and defend against the Alfa Romeo of Joe. Both of these cars belong to the midfield, and it's very impressive that a driver managed to do such things in his first career race. Now, speaking about his first race and about the impressions, De Vries was very happy and hopeful that he proved once more that he's made out of F1 material and that the sport doesn't have to look in another direction if they need young and prospective drivers. Not that he's very young, 27 years are already behind his name, but he's proven that he's made out of F1 material. I didn't really have much time to think because everything was so rushed. I had a very bad sleep, it went from excitement into nerves, and I didn't dare even look into my sleep tracking because basically I spent the whole night awake. But perhaps it helped me, I couldn't think and I just had to get on with the job. My start wasn't great, but it was enough to maintain position, and I think it was key for me to get into a rhythm in the beginning and not lose position, because then your tyres are dirty and you're always on the back foot. That is why I was really happy with our strategy and how we managed that. And actually, the pace was really good, the car was great, and we made a small adjustment from stint 1 to stint 2. I asked a lot of help from the team to use the tools in the car to influence the balance. Again, I know that we had a little bit of help from outside with grid penalties and all that, but hey, no one takes these points away from us, said De Vries. Now, many of the Williams fans have started a chant on Twitter, saying that the team needs to sack Latifi and replace him with De Vries, as they said, hoping to see De Vries in the Williams again in Singapore. They need to immediately sack Nicholas Latifi after this embarrassment. It's very likely that this can happen, and although the team may opt to sign De Vries for the 2023 season instead of the remainder of the 2022 one, that isn't something we shouldn't expect. We've seen that Albon can score points, and after the Monza GP, we've seen that De Vries can perform on this level too. This will mean that both Williams drivers will be able to propel the team from the dead last place and finally bring some momentum to the British team after being at the bottom for so long. De Vries talked about other F1 drivers and said that they've been really supportive of him, especially his fellow countryman Verstappen. He was kind, we had some messaging last night, even this morning. Lewis congratulated me, they've all been very supportive and very kind. Max just came to me and said, it's going to be fine, it's good to be good, you will be fine, just have a good start and get through. So I appreciate the support and also very thankful to all the fans who voted me as driver of the day, finished De Vries. On the other hand, De Vries is well aware that he needs to perform on a top level in order to remain in the sport, but is also certain that he has what it takes in himself to remain in the sport with a permanent, not a temporary status. The whole experience from yesterday until now has just been a dream. Jumping on a car on the driver's parade and seeing all the excitement for Formula 1, getting the opportunity to race, starting in the top 10, executing a good race, scoring points debut, being called driver of the day, it's been amazing. We live in a competitive industry, so you're as good as your last race and you're always expected to perform. Luckily, I did that this weekend and I grabbed this opportunity with both hands, finished De Vries. One team boss wasn't surprised by De Vries' experience simply because he knew that he can drive an F1 car and that it was weird that De Vries hasn't secured a seat in F1. Toto Wolff, Mercedes principal, said, I think what else should he do in terms of performance than what he has shown today? No training, he jumped in a car that he hadn't driven straight into FP3. Yeah, it showed what he's capable of doing, finished Wolff. Now, there has been an increased interest from other teams such as Alpine for De Vries' services. However, the Enstone-based team has emerged in talks with Gasly, and if the FIA grants Herta his super license, then the Gasly move to Alpine will be finalised and Herta will replace him in Alpha Tauri. Therefore, that would mean that Alpine's door will be closed for De Vries and he'll be limited to Williams only. This doesn't seem to bother him at all, and although he did have some words to say regarding the FIA's action when it comes to Colton Herta, he said that he doesn't have anything left to prove in order to secure an F1 seat. I wouldn't build my future solely on hope and on the volatility of this paddock, but at the same time, it's a dream I like to fulfill, and I also think I deserve an opportunity. So I'll be judging the opportunities carefully in the upcoming time, and then decide what is ultimately the best for my career. I don't have a management, not really officially as such, but time will tell. I don't know, it's out of my hands, it's not in my control. Obviously it's a dream and I think I would deserve a chance, but ultimately it's not up to me to decide the driver lineup. I mean, I don't have to sell myself, I've won certain things, I've been given the opportunity to participate in some of the FP1s, I deserve a chance. But it's not always just about what you've shown and what you've done. You need a bit of momentum, the timing needs to be right, there needs to be a place. It's just purely based on what you've done in the past, finished De Vries. De Vries also spoke about Colton Herta's situation, saying that granting him the super license would undermine the integrity of the sport and the efforts that drivers like him have put in developing into F1 material. Nyck said, "I trust in the governing body. I think rules are there to be respected. There are plenty of other drivers in the market that have super license points. The necessity is not necessarily that high to go and give someone dispensation to get a super license. Plus, in my own opinion, it would give an incorrect precedent and example to the Formula 2 and Formula 3 championships," said Nyck. He also spoke about the investments that are made in F3 and F2, as we all know that there are drivers that are backed up by senior F1 teams on these battlefields, and every team is trying to groom the perfect talent and find the perfect driver for their future. According to Nyck, American drivers will be much more motivated to join F3 and F2 if Herta was allowed to race there. The knock-on effect will be much greater than just giving dispensation. First, because there will be many more knocking on the door for a certain request. Secondly, you could argue that people going from Formula 4 to Formula 3 could decide to escape to the US because in an Indy light, you only have 12 cars on the grid and it's much easier to score points and then you could come back. Then you almost kill and jeopardize the ladder we've been building over the years, which is now so nice. I compare our platform to what we see in MotoGP 3 and 2. There is a clear ladder, a clear path to Formula 1, so it would be a shame if we jeopardize our system. I also think it's unnecessary, finished Nyck. So, what do you think about this matter? Do you think that De Vries will secure himself a spot in Williams? Let us know in the comments below.